So, Tuesday's class we were talking about the Qua, the Qua conversation. Qua is spelled Q-W-A, by the way, in case you want to know what that is. And we'll talk about the Qua. It's become this new talked about thing in Qigong, and it's in Tai Chi. It's been around for a long time. It dates back, but it's just had this resurgence of this thing, the Qua thing. And so we're gonna talk about it a bit today. I did it on Tuesday. I talked a bit about when we did exercise, but we'll go back and recap a little bit of it. But do go back and watch it if you can, because it will add to this one as well, to understand it, because I was working with it. I'll give you some exercises to show how to increase the space of your Qua, how to make your Qua bigger, and how to relax it, how to sink it, how to grow it, all of the above. It's quite a lot used in Tai Chi fundamentals because it's got a lot to do with the power coming from your lower dantian yin. So it has a lot to do with martial arts because of the understanding of it. But it is used in Qigong as well, but it's not so prevalent as it is in Tai Chi. But somebody asked me the other day about it, so I brought it into the class on Tuesday. But it's quite a big subject, so we didn't quite get through it all, so we're going to do a bit more today. And just a reminder of the monastery classes on this weekend, on Saturday at, unfortunately it's 2 o'clock in the morning, but it'll be, I think, your 12 o'clock, Mark. But it's at 2 o'clock in the morning for Walter. It's in the middle of the morning. You have to set your alarm and get up for that one. Shush. Gigi, be quiet. Shush. It's my dog. Singing to me. Sorry if that was a bit loud in your ear. I didn't mean that to be loud in your ear. I forget with this mic. This mic's really sensitive, like ridiculously sensitive. And sometimes Josephine will be sat behind the camera and I'm speaking to her like I've got to project my voice because she's way over there. she's got hold of that mic. You don't have to yell. I can hear you. And it's quite funny talking to you, and you know she can't actually hear you. But you're speaking in her voice and thinking she can. It's a weird thing. But anyway. So sorry if I spoke out loud about the dog, then it would have been quite loud, so I forget. Or I sneeze or something. But Sangut's back there. He's been parasailing. Our cameraman goes parasailing. And he was showing me some of the... Hang on a second. He was showing some of his footage that he did parasailing in the clouds, which is very, very cool. So welcome back. I know that Josephine's missed you. Because she's having to do the videos recently, so she's missed him. She was quite happy for him to come back. So I hope the Dalai Lama's speech was good, Mark. Dealer, sorry, excuse me, I have to do a bit of admin because the dogs are barking lots, so I'm just going to sort this out. Hang on a second. Dealer, can you move them around the end can you take them down the end?
I bring in the pool.
Okay, perfect. Thanks, love. We have some builders here at the moment. We're getting a bit of paving done around the front of the house, and the dogs don't like the bathers, so that's why they're tied up at the back. So otherwise they can sit at the end, they growl at them. Right, it's better.
Yeah, he was on for like 3.5 hours, but I think the actual empowerment was just 5 minutes.
Is that right? What was it? What was he talking about for 3.5 hours?
He was doing a lot of chanting and talking about what it all meant and explaining it.
About which was? He was.
What's that?
What was he explaining about?
He was explaining the empowerment. He was talking about the deity that represented and what it all meant.
Very cool.
And I'm not a Buddhist, so I didn't understand a lot of what he was saying.
Yeah, for sure.
The actual empowerment, I'm very sure.
Well, I mean, there's a long piece of philosophy that sits behind all the Buddhist understanding. So, as I say, they have almost like their own language around it too. So, yeah, it's very cool. Yeah, he's a lovely chap. He's a
Yeah, well, it was pretty cool just seeing it.
yeah,
It was all live.
very cool.
And I think they recorded it if you want to take a look at the 3.5 hours yourself.
Probably not,
It
but
was actually over the course of 2 days. The first day was another 3 hours of just the introduction.
oh, that's great. That's cool. It's cool that he's out speaking in the world, in a troubled world that he's out talking about empowerment. It's a very moot point at the moment about empowering people, and I think it's great. Yeah, especially.
What's cool is normally you have to be a Buddhist to have a master to get an empowerment, but this one was like for the whole world, whoever wanted to participate, anyone.
Oh, that's
Simply that you get empowered unless you have a Buddhist master
yeah,
or apprentice or all sorts of stuff. So I've been studying for years and
yeah. That's so cool. Well, we all need a bit of empowerment, so that's a very cool thing. As I say, it's this time in the world. That's what we need. That's for sure. Because we certainly felt what it must be like to be disempowered. So having empowerment, what a great idea. Good on him. He's a cool dude. Very cool. So the Kwa is an area, and quite often you talk about people talking about Kwa. They're talking about this inguinal area between your hips and your pelvis, which is where it actually resides. But we'll talk a little bit more about the detail about exactly where it is. And you'll quite often see people talking about the Kwa and doing this gesture when they talk about it. But I'll talk about a little bit more exactly what the location is and what a lot of the practice is about and why we do that, and why the practice is about how to open the Kwa. Yep. I think it's useful for people because you'll hear the terminology and you at least know what it is. To make our legs. I bought some new plants into the set. There was we had a bit of concrete there because that plant over there, the big one, had lost a couple of leaves, so we've borrowed a few plants to put some more green back into our set. And I had a garden to plant some more plants in there as well. This is very cool. I like the greenery. I like living in it because all of this is alive, and there's something about being in nature. And I was talking about that this morning with somebody. That all our trees around our whole yard all face towards the house. They don't know why they do that because, mind you, the sun comes from the other side, so I suppose it's got a lot to do with the sun, if I really think about it. It's not really facing me, they're just facing towards the sun. But we've got like whole three sides of our whole house in the middle, and all around the whole side is this green thing. And it's rather large. And we see that we're at the front of the house from the morning, on the Tuesday mornings, and the afternoon class we're around the side. But it's about that all of it's alive. All of this energy that's in here, all around here, is all alive and it's living. And there's something about the living energy of the nature. I really love it. And it's palpable, like you can feel it. And I think quite like, that's why I love being outside in it, because you can actually, it's like you're part of the nature thing, and especially standing on the ground. It's a very, very cool experience.
I actually had someone hold my waist for training gazes east and west. I actually finally had someone hold my waist. And I thought I could move maybe 3 inches from left and right. It was actually 1 inch. It was really amazing.
That's really cool. I got one for you. I got one for you, Mark, while we're warming up. That I was watching a program about the sun cycle around the planet during a 24-hour period. The planet rotates, or the sun goes around, whichever way you want to see it. And that it's not the same with our clock, our 24-hour clock. It varies. Every day is different. And sometimes of the year it's faster and sometimes it's slower than a 24. It doesn't go around in 24 hours exactly. And it varies every day. And it's, as I say, sometimes it goes faster around, sometimes it goes slower. There's no, and they monitored the time where the sun was every day, and it created this figure eight feeling of where the sun was during that time for the whole year and where it was. And it's like this figure eight thing. It was a funny looking shape, but it wasn't exact. The sun, or our rotation, and the actual 24-hour clock wasn't the same, but it fluctuated either more or less. It wasn't one particular way or the other. It was actually had this funny symbol it made. I thought it was fascinating. It's not correct. Besides the fact that we have the 365.24 days of the year to make up, and have to have a leap year to catch it up. But it wasn't about that. It was about the day. The days weren't the same. And the olden days, when they had the sundials, they used to do the sundials, and everybody should have to change their watch to the sundials at exactly the same time every day, because every time the watches were never right, because the sundial was always slightly different, because the sun was always different. Fascinating. Fascinating to understand.
Actually, rotation of the Earth is slowing down by 1 second every century.
Oh, look at that. Yeah, what's that? And
If we go back a billion years, the Earth was rotating a lot quicker.
yeah,
That's a lot of seconds it adds up over.
yeah, for sure. And they were talking about, yeah. Well,
Lose a second.
I like that, and we're talking about I can't remember the name of the dude who says that, we're moving, our axis is moving, and we're moving slowly over, but then it also comes back, and it goes over and comes back. It actually, because they can reach where the sun and the moon are, so they can log exactly the space, and they can watch this tilt. But it doesn't necessarily keep tilting over, and people think it's going to fall over. It actually tilts over and then comes back the other way. So it's like this has this funny variation that's happening. It's bizarre on this planet. Have you seen the video about flat Earth? Oh, here's one for you. Have you seen the video about flat Earth? It's fascinating. I'll find a link. I'll put it up for you. It's an interesting watch. I love it. The flat Earth theorist. It's interesting how they put it together.
There's been a say, so right now the Earth is tilted towards the North Star, but when it tilts like what you suggested, we won't be pointed toward the North Star at that point.
Yeah, that's because we all revolve around the North Star. It's fixed, and everything else moves around it, doesn't it? But they believe that it's actually moving, and it's slowly getting out. It's going to be to another star, and they plotted it where it was in another star in history, and then it keeps moving. And that center star we rotate around won't be the North Star.
Towards the North Star. But when the tilt is like the other way, it's not towards the North Star anymore. And then it'll tilt. So it takes 23,000 years for the whole cycle to happen.
Yeah. So it's moving. Bizarre, isn't it? I think it's fantastic. I think there's this other thing going on with this planet. It isn't this perfect sphere that rotates and does everything. There's a whole lot of variants that are happening with it. I love that.
I think the Earth bulges. Either, I forget, north, south, or east, west. I think the gravitational force of the moon causes the Earth to bulge.
Oh, I love it.
So
Well,
it's not really scary.
Well, it'll probably suck all the water over one way anyway. Then the moon will probably suck the water over because it affects the water. I'll find that documentary on the flat Earth. It's fascinating. I'm not saying it is, I'm just saying it's a fascinating watch. Because your mind just goes, no, you can't do that, it's got to be round because of this and because of that, and people being in space, and they have an answer for all of that. It sort of opens the idea, okay, that's an interesting theory. It opens up the theory of lots of things, of course, because we only know what we see. And most of us have never been out in space, so we don't see that. I love it. Anyway, back to the Qua. We just bow, eh? Gong. We'll do our own orbit for ourselves. So the Qua is, if you have your pelvis, the pelvis is like this. It's like it comes out like a, like you use the terminology the other day, like flared guards on a car. They flare over in your hip joints underneath it, and it sort of flares over the top of your hips and comes around the front, and it goes around the back as well. And right in the front, you have the front part of your pelvis. There's like these. The bones stick out, so you can feel them. If you put your finger in your guano area, you'll be able to feel these bones, and it's the most forward part of the bone, so you can feel it. It comes down and it comes up and goes around. They're like circular like that, and you're trying to find the front part where it circles. You're trying to find the most leading forward point, and everybody's slightly different because everybody's pelvis is different, and you define where it is, and you'll be able to put your fingers on it and the bone. There won't be much meat in front of it. It'll be just quite easy to find. Now that's the point. So that's between that point and the top of your femur. This is the femur joint inside the socket. I'm using that. This is that leg, and it looks like that. Well, the top of the femur and the top of this point where we can feel the pelvis, the gap between those two things is known as your Qua. There's the upper Qua, the middle Qua, and the bottom Qua, and it's on both sides, and it's like a gap between your hips and your hip joints. Yep, or the top of your hip, the top of your femur. And so we have this idea of this space. So what the idea is the more we can expand the Qua, more we can open it up, the more energy can sit in it. And we know our lower dantian, our physical center, our dantian lives there. And if our dantian can expand, and then the Quas, I wouldn't say it's part of the dantian, because then we could get into lots of difficulty about people trying to fight you for that explanation. But understand it's the energy between your Qua in this area. If it's compressed, you don't have much space for it, but the wider you can get it, the more area in here, the more energy you can have. And I believe that the dantian and the Qua are connected together. It's one, and it's like if we talk about the daimai, which is the girdling vessel in Chinese medicine, it travels right through this area. It comes around here, around the back. And it's almost like it travels right through the Qua. So you can almost say the energy of the daimai in this area is being squashed by the Qua, or it's been opened, expanded, so you can have more energy in the daimai. Yep. We'll leave it at that for the moment. I think they're connected, but that's okay. That's just the theory. So how do we expand that? Well, first of all, you've got to know where it is. So what I want you to do to start off with is, just because you didn't do the class the other day, put your fingers on, you can put your thumbs on them, on the two bones. This is the front portion of the pelvis. The two bones stick out. You'll be able to feel them. They're big chunky things. And I want you to hold those, and I just want you to bend forward. Yeah? And bend forward, and then bend back up again. Yeah? And see what happens to them. Yeah? As you bend forward and bend back up. Now what will happen is you'll feel it folding forward. You'll feel those two bones. You'll see them folding forward and then folding back. Yeah? Which is what most people will experience if I didn't preempt what I'm going to say now. So what I want you to do is, when we bend over, what I want you to do is think of those bones going up and not going forward and down. So they go up. So from here, let them go up, feel it like them rising inside, rise inside, and then bend forward. That's a very different experience. And then bend forward. Now when you get down here, of course, it's going to bend down a bit. And when you stand up, feel them rising. Feel them rising up. Good. Now that's quite different, isn't it? So feel them rise as you bend over, see them rising up. Good. And you go down. Very different expression. Good. And then let them rise as you stand back up again. Good, which is different to when we stood there, and as we went forward, they just collapsed on top of each other, and then they collapsed back on again. Cool. So that's part of it. So that's how we maintain the idea of the upright Qua. So how do we open the top end of it? Now the bottom end, of course, is to relax, be able to relax the hip joint, all the sinews and muscles and ligaments that are holding your hip and your muscles in place there. Just let it go. And when you do that by these exercises we were doing the other day, just leg exercises, yeah, so that you're letting the hip joint relax. You can do both legs, doesn't matter which one you do. And you're using the idea of just hanging from your hip joint and loosening the hip joint and let it just hang and let gravity pull it down so it's stretching it, yeah? And we did another one, which is the Taiji one, which is this one, where you come up with your knee and you flop it down, and as you flop it down, it pulls the joint down. Comes up, flops the joint down. Yeah, and we can do that one. If you have trouble doing this, Rebecca said the other day, which she showed me something that you can use one of those yoga blocks if you have a strong one, and you can stand on the block so the leg's hanging down from the block. So then it's going to hang down further. Otherwise you've got to lean over a little bit, otherwise your foot hits the ground. And she had a block, which I thought was quite a good idea. And also you can do it on a step. You can do it on a step, and you can just stand on the step and have your leg hanging down. You can do this exercise. Yeah, you can shake it around. You can shake your leg, you can move it side to side. And what you're trying to do, of course, is to get your hip to relax. And there's lots of exercises you can do to get your hip relaxed, yeah? 1 minute round to let it go so it's nice and relaxed. Yep. And you can do the twisting around, twist it around, jiggling it, do all of those things will help that. And they're good exercise to do to keep the fluidity inside your hip joints so they don't get stiff. Yep. So that's how you draw the bottom down. Now, when we put our fingers back on our pelvis, back on the front part of our pelvis again, the anterior part of your pelvis, and we know what we do is when we can sit down. So what I want to do is just sit there and breathe in. As you breathe in, just feel it rise. Yeah, and you can feel it move up. Hopefully you can feel that. And then breathe out, let it lower itself down. Good. So breathe in, you feel it rise. And it can rise quite a bit. And if you were partners, I did something with a class last night, and they had their fingers on it, you can actually feel it move. And it actually goes up. If you breathe in, you can build it up, and then it can go down, yeah? What happens with that is something we talk a lot about, which is the pelvic tuck. When we sit here and we move our pelvis forward, and tuck, and then relax. When we do that, if you think of these bones in the front, when we bring our pelvis forward and relax. So the key to this, because it happens when you move it forward. So if we put our fingers on the bones again, tuck our pelvis forward and relax. Now when you tuck your pelvis forward, you're going to feel these rise, yeah? Good. And then relax. But when you relax, don't let them go down, let them stay high, but let everything else underneath them relax. So tuck them forward and then relax and leave them up. It's good. You do that again. Tuck your pelvis forward and you feel them rise and then relax, but don't let them go. Let your legs relax, but don't let these go down. Don't feel the front part of your pelvis, don't feel it going down, just tuck it under. Now same thing again, tuck your pelvis forward and you'll feel it come up. Good. And relax. Now tuck your pelvis forward and draw these bones up at the same time. So you're doing two different things. Tuck it forward and bring them up. Yep. Now notice the difference of what happens when you do that. When you just bring them forward, they move a certain bit, they go up slightly. But when you unconsciously think of moving them up and tucking your pelvis, they go a long way. So it's like double the distance. Now, everybody will have a different experience of this. I can't guarantee that it'll be the same as everybody here, because everybody will be slightly different of how much freedom they have with this. Tuck it and bring it up. And there's a huge rise that happens. Well, I feel a huge rise, but I'm not saying I'm the world's greatest choir person. I'm just saying I can feel the movement. Yeah. So tuck it forward, it goes up, and then draw it up, and then tuck it forward, and you get this whole lifting thing. But what you don't want to do, of course, is straighten your legs to do that. You don't want to sort of all of a sudden straighten your legs and feel like you're reaching up in the sky. You don't want to do that as well. That's not correct either. You tuck it forward and you lift it, and you'll feel the whole thing lift up. Now, as you tuck it forward and lift up, we've got two things there. We're lifting it, we're tucking our pelvis, and the next thing is to think of your hip joints relaxing down. So your hips are going to go down. Your hips are going to go down. You're going to tuck your pelvis. You're going to bring the front part of these bones up, and you're going to relax your legs hanging down underneath them. So have a go at that, see how that feels. So remember, the first thing is we bring the bones up, and then we tuck our pelvis, and you feel them going up, and then relax the legs. Good, very good. Try that again. Tuck it forward, bring them up, bring them up. Feel like they're pulling them up, and you're tucking forward, and then relax your pelvis. And as you relax your pelvis, actually relax your bum, you let it go down, let the legs just hang down further as you relax. Good. So when we talk about tucking our pelvis, we do this without even thinking about it, but I've never really gone to the explanation of the quiet action with this. You tuck it forward and then relax, which is the correct movement. And because we've done this a lot, you'll find that your front parts will move up more than a lot of people, because we've done a lot of this pelvic tucking, so you know what it feels like. But moving these bones up by themselves, just a different piece to it. Bring them up and let the legs hang down. Good. Now, when you bring your pelvis forward, try and do it without engaging your bum muscles. Don't engage your bum. Don't engage your gluteus maximus. Leave them alone. So as we tuck forward, as we go forward, we tuck forward and just do the tuck, and don't engage your muscles. They should stay soft. Tuck forward, let them stay soft. And as you tuck forward, feel them rising. Feel the front parts rising. Yeah. And then when you relax, you won't have to relax your bum muscles because they're already relaxed. But then you relax, leave the top part high, and just let the legs go down underneath the joint. There you go. That'll keep you busy. This is not something you're going to do overnight. This is not something you wake up and I can do that. No, this is a practice to be able to do that. So the bigger gap, so what it's doing is creating this gap in your inguinal area, the quad area from the upper quad right down to here. You're creating a bigger gap because you're learning how to move the pelvis up, and you're learning how to relax the legs down. So you're creating a bigger gap. And that gap is where the area is also, remember, where the daimai travels, right through that area as well. So we're creating an energetic pathway that's not crushed down with all the weight of your hips or the weight of your pelvis sitting down on top of your hips. Now we're lifting that whole area and we're expanding it. And of course there's more area can be in there and more area in the daimai. Cool. It's a practice. Now, one more piece. There's another piece to this. There's lots of this. With our pelvis, when we bring our pelvis forward, our sacrum, that little triangle bone at the bottom of our pelvis, at the bottom of our spine, where our little tailbone hangs off the bottom, that movement there, when it's locked inside the hips, it stays locked inside the hips just about all your life. And the only time that it's ever released is when a woman has a baby and it lets go, the ligaments let go, and it actually floats. That little triangle thing moves because it has to move out of the road so they can get the head of the baby out. And that's, in theory, the only time you can actually move your sacrum backwards and forwards is that time. So if you ever get a mum who's having a baby, you're going to start poking on the sacrum to test it. But I had checked it out because it is true. And when you put the sacrum, just before they're giving birth, you put your finger on it and the sacrum moves. It's flexible. But the rest of the time it's not. It's locked. It's locked in here and doesn't move. But at that one time, it actually moves like it's quite fluid, like all the muscles around and all the ligaments just relax, let go. But you can actually learn how to let go all of these muscles so that your sacrum moves. My sacrum moves in and out. It's quite weird, and if I do live class, I get people to put their fingers on it, and I can move it backwards and forwards. That's going to come from years of doing Tai Chi exercise and Qigong, so it's a practice. But it's actually quite flexible. So when I move my sacrum forward, I can feel my sacrum tuck underneath, and then it relaxes, but I can actually feel it moving. The sacrum moves. And this is not using my bum muscles. The sacrum just moves and tucks underneath and it relaxes there. And it just sort of hangs there. But there's a movement in it. It's not stuck there. And so part of what we're going to practice now, you're going to put your hands on your bum like this. So you can see, I'll turn around. So you have your hands here and you're pushing it. The sacrum's just here. It's just in there somewhere. Everybody will be slightly different. You put your finger on it. And when you tuck your pelvis forward, you're going to try and push it in. And then relax. Push it in and move it, and you'll feel the muscles here move, and as the muscles move, it'll go in, and then it relaxes. You'll feel the muscles go in and go out. Yeah? Initially, you're going to do this with your gluteus maximus. You're going to use your bum muscles it's almost like you're squeezing your bum muscles and tucking the bum muscles together. Yeah? And then you let them go apart, and then tucking them together. As you do that, when you do that, the sacrum's going to go forward. You bring your bum muscles back. It's almost like squeezing your bum muscles together. I don't know how else to describe that. That'll do. Squeezing your bum muscles together. And as you do that movement with that, the pelvis comes forward. And let it relax. Squeeze them together and it comes forward. Good. So now we've got this idea of this, and this part of the exercise is to get the freedom in your sacrum, but it's also creating freedom around your hip joints as well, and relax. And then try and do it without squeezing your bum muscles. Yeah, just move it forward, but don't use your bum muscle to do it. Good, like that. And you'll feel it come forward. Good. Now put your fingers on top of your pelvis, your two, the posterior parts of your pelvis, the two pointy pieces. Put your fingers on that. Now do that now and tuck it underneath, and then move your sacrum forward at the same time. So tuck your pelvis. Good. Now move these so you lift them up, so they go up as you twist. Good. And then bring your sacrum forward. No muscles in your spot. No, don't use your muscle in your bum. Feel them go up, and then relax and feel them. The legs going down, but these don't move. Try it again. Come forward. Feel them rising. Feel them rising. Then relax your legs. Good. Do that again. That's good. So tuck them forward. Bring your the sacrum forward as well. Don't use your muscles. Then relax your muscles if you have used them. Relax your muscles. And feel everything falling down underneath it. It's expanding underneath it. But these don't move. The top stays there and everything else drops underneath. You don't want to start sinking down inside it. Don't do that. Lift it up. Hold it up. Relax there. And then let the part drop underneath it. And that's how you increase the size of it. Now, what we use that for, now, this is interesting. After we've finished this class, I want you to, you want to feel something really weird. Sit with the idea of that idea. Bring them up. Have the idea of them. You can feel them rising. You know what it feels like to make them rise now. They can rise inside your body. Good. And then relax your sacrum. Wait for the plane. I'm not sure if you can hear that. This mic's so good, but I'm sure you can. I can hear it. And then go for a walk. But don't do it now, because you'll walk off and you won't be able to hear me. So, and go for a walk with this idea. Bring them up, tuck your pelvis, bring them up, and then go for a walk. And leave them up as you walk. Have them up as you're walking. Oh, I'd love to be a fly in the wall and watch your expression on your face. It's a weird feeling. You'll feel like you're standing very straight, and you'll feel like you're standing quite tall. Because what this has done is it's changed the posture of the way you walk. And then when you're walking, of course, relax the legs. When we bring these up, relax the legs, hang down. So we take that into the Tai Chi. So when we're stepping, and you're stepping, and you do you step to the side, and you do parting wild horse, the main easy one. And as I'm coming forward, this is going up. I feel it going up, but I'm not rising up in my stance. I'm not doing this in my stance. The stance is still the same, but I feel the rise inside my body where it's lifting up. And I'm turning, it's lifting up. And I have this gap around here where the power is. Yep. It's when I move back, the power stays there. We're going to do a couple of Qigong exercises usually, so I just want to use the Tai Chi because I know some of you do Tai Chi. And to understand what it feels like to leave this up. And when you're stepping up, if I step up, usually when you bring one foot off the ground to step up, doing Tai Chi, if you step up, usually you sit down on this one and you bring the other leg up. That's quite a common thing to do. Sit down on that one, bring the other leg up. But now what we do is we're going to sit down, but as we sit down, we're going to bring the qua up and feel what that feels like. It'll be a very different experience. Now our qua is high, even though we've moved weight from one side of the body. Instead of going down and losing, the qua goes down to there, we're going to go across and it's going to go up. But we still have the same thing, but it just feels very different standing here. Cool. Okay. Moving on into Qigong now. So, which one can we do? Which is an easy one to do? Got to think of a nice simple one. Got to think of one that goes from side to side. Oh, I know, we could do one without it goes from side to side. Turn and gaze at the moon. So your hands in the middle. Now, before you start, rise them up. Feel them rising in your body, and you feel them rise up. Tuck your pelvis underneath it, rise them up, and then turn, and leave them up. Good. Now as you come down the front, feel your legs dropping down underneath your hips. relaxing, and then come up the other side and feel it rise up. And then come back down again. Let your legs relax on the way down. Then rise again as you turn. And then relax your legs on the way down. So these parts of our pelvis are moving up when we're turning, but when we come back, they stay up, and you just let the legs drop down underneath them as you come back to the front. And then you go again and move up again. You're only going to get me out of so far because you get to the stage where they can't get any higher, but you'll still feel them. Every time you turn around, you'll feel them rising. Don't straighten your legs. The legs will stay the same. It's just happening internally with your pelvis. And then relax your legs. Turn and feel the rise inside the body. And then relax the legs and they're coming down, but don't lower the pelvis. Very cool. And then relax. Cool. Scoop from the sea. Stay with the Shu Ba Shu. Stepping forward. As we go down, remember this is when we go down, and you have the idea of it going down, it isn't folding forward, it's going up. So as we go down, it goes up. Yeah, it feels it goes up. Scoop the sea. And then when we step back, feel them both rising. Feel them both rising. And you feel the expansion happening inside your hip joints. Leave them expanded and then go down. Feel them as you're going down, they're going up. As you go down, they're still going up. That's it. Good. And as you feel it coming up, just the whole body floats. As you come up, they're going up. Everything comes up. Good. Leave them expanded. Leave them high. And leave them high as you bend down. Good. As you come up, they come higher again. Feel them lifting inside your pelvis. And you feel like you're floating. Your arms almost start floating by themselves as you lift it. Good. And coming down. Feel them float up. We'll try the other side, eh? Stepping the other way. Goes down. As we go down, let them come up. If you wanted, you could put your finger on one of them and so you can feel it, and bring your hand down and feel it going up. And then when you step up, feel it going up. Feel it going up, 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 up. Going up, still going up. And then when going down, it stays up. And as you go down, and the idea is you can still feel it pulling up as you go down. Very good. You've got my hand on it just so you can feel what it's doing. Or if you can feel it inside your body without putting your hand, of course, it's just as easy. Feel it rising. Leave both pelvic bones up. Leave them up and come back down. It's a very different movement. Very cool. And stand up. Now, we'll do a one-legged one so we can do that. We'll do bouncing the ball in the sunshine. So as we come across and we change when we have the opposite leg, opposite hand facing each other, and the same arm, same leg. Yep, that's up in the air. And we turn as we go around, and we move across. The weight goes onto the other foot. Instead of, you can sink the energy down from your leg, but your hip goes up. But you don't rise up in the air. You don't feel yourself lifting. What happens is your hip feels like it's going up, but you're not going to notice much. But the leg's going to go down. Yeah, and it comes around, and feel it lifting. Yeah, and then go to the other side, and feel it coming up. As it goes, the weight comes in, you feel it coming up, turning. Good. Goes to the other side. Feel the front of the pelvis going up. You'll feel the twist. You'll feel the pelvis turning underneath as well. The other side. Feel it coming up. Feel you tucking your pelvis as you do this. And relax the pelvis and feel the leg hanging down. See, we're getting more and more scientific, aren't we? It gets more difficult. The more fine-tuned we get in our body, the more these movements become more apparent, and feel it moving up. Feel it lifting inside the body. It lifts in the body. But you don't straighten your leg lifting, your body lifts and all the weight comes down into the leg. So you have this separation. It feels like it's separating as we come around to this exercise. It goes to the other side. And you're growing the space between your hip joint and the front of your pelvis. Feel it rise. Good. The other side. And then feel it rise. And increase the gap. Good. Other side. Feel the gap increase. As I say, don't raise up in the air. Don't straighten the leg that you're standing on. Just have the hips expand. The hip expands, so you feel this rising is happening in here, but it's not happening because I'm straightening my leg. I'm not doing that. What's expanding is my hips are expanding. This is expanding. I'll do it without straightening my legs. It does say the same. Look, see the rise is happening inside the body, but it's not a leg moving. Yeah, this is happening. And the leg's saying exactly where it is, but I can feel it moving up and down, yeah? So we're learning how to do that. So you can take that into a lot of exercise and understand that, but it does take practice. Do the practice where you're doing your legs. Learn how to do your legs so that you learn how to free up your hip bones, because you want your hips always free for the rest of your life. You don't want to get all the tension in your hips, in your sacrum area. And the idea of pulling these up, you can put your fingers on them, so it's the easiest way if you do that. Or if you're with somebody else, if you're doing a class, because I know some of you teach, just get them to put their fingers on it. And when they stand there, they'll be able to stand there like that, just straight to the front, and just bring them up and relax. And just get them to bring them up, and you'll feel them, they can move them up. And you don't have to do a lot of pelvic twisting. The pelvic tucking is part of it, but it's not, don't get them to do that to start off with. Put your fingers on and just say lift them, and you'll be surprised they can lift them up. If they don't know, they'll have to learn how to do that. Most people know how to lift their bones. But you will feel a little bit of a twist going to lift it up. But then when you put your pelvis forward, you go your pelvis forward and lift them up and you go, oh my God, then it goes a long way up. But then relax your pelvis. Don't use your muscles to do it. Very cool. And so we have this area around here. And what it gives you is a lot more power, especially when you're standing on one leg. If you stand, the person asked me this question the other day, it was on YouTube, and it was about Qigong. It's one of these postures. And he said, so how do you tuck your pelvis when you're standing on one leg without shutting down your core? I said, it's really easy. You're sitting there, you bring the bones up, you tuck your pelvis forward, and then relax the leg hanging down, and you get that leg going down and the pelvis going up, even though you're standing on one leg. And you can do that, and you're standing in the posture with this open, like that, instead of it closed right down again, where it's all sitting on top of each other. You have it open, and you stand in the posture like that, and you can feel with it open. There you go. Keep you busy. For those who want a trip to Bali, come to Bali in September. I can't remember the dates in September. We've got a 4-day course in September. I'm doing the long life system in September. Come to Bali, and I'm doing another one. I'm doing Qigong, which is that part of the exercise, in January, 5th of January. I can't remember the other one in September. It's in the middle of the month in September. And then next year we're doing a live 200. We just booked all the places for this. For next year we're doing a live 200 in July next year. So save your pennies and come out and do a 23-day live Qigong course. Whoa, I'm looking forward to that. They are spectacular. When you're in that space with each other for 23 days without a break from 7 o'clock in the morning to 7 at night, every day, it's pretty cool. The place you get to in that space is pretty amazing. You need to take your car for a test drive. Be cool, everybody. Have a great weekend. And for those people in the monastery school that have done a level 1, I'll see you at the monastery class on Saturday afternoon, 2 o'clock. And Mark, I'll see you at 12 o'clock, midnight. Be cool. Enjoy playing with your choir for the rest of the day. Go on. Very cool.